TED Talks by Ted Schwerzler is brought to you by Paul Bunyan Communications, providing fiber optic fast internet up to 10 gigabytes, TV, voice, IT, and their certified Apple Service Center. They're serving the Bemidji and Grand Rapids area since 1952.
Ted Schwerzler for a weekly TED Talks Twins at TL Schwerz on Twitter, Twins Daily, OffTheBaggy. The yo-yo act the Minnesota Twins continue to do this season continued last week as they went out to Washington against a bad Nationals team that has probably overperformed some expectations. They saw a bunch of familiar faces, notably Joey Gallo and Eddie Rosario in the outfield. Ildemaro Vargas was on that team as well, but took 2 of 3 against the Nats. Obviously, that is an ideal outcome, winning a series against a team that they need to beat. And then they come home with an off day in between and do the same thing to the reigning champion Texas Rangers. Now, Texas is kind of an interesting team at this point in the year in that their pitching is just not there. They have a bunch of money wrapped up in Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom and Tyler Mahle and guys that are right now on the injured list. They're in the thick of the AL West just because the division is so bad. Everyone in that division has a negative run differential right now. Seattle is leading the division, but no one really wants to jump out and figure anything out. Houston is the team that obviously was expected to go ahead and take the division, but they started so poorly out of the gate that they're not up there either. Either way, though, Minnesota handled business over the weekend, took 2 of 3 from Texas, and really put themselves in a good spot with Kansas City coming to town for Memorial Day and a 4-game set. While the Twins have been incredibly streaky this year, it's hard not to call Cleveland and Kansas City incredibly consistent, and they've been consistent on the winning side of things. Both of them already have 30 wins, while the Twins were going through that 7-game dip. Following their 12-game winning streak, both Cleveland and Kansas City ripped off, I believe, 8 and 9 game winning streaks. The Royals had dropped a game right before coming to Target Field, but Minnesota kept that losing streak going, or started a losing streak for Kansas City, knocking them off 6-5 in a game on Monday when Kansas City was really never in that one. Joan Duran got beat up by some really ugly exit velocities and soft contact late to give up 4 runs against the Royals. But Kansas City never truly threatened in that game. The rest of the week will be very critical for the Twins as they look to kind of close the gap in the division. They're 6.5 games behind the Guardians at this point. Tough spot for Minnesota, though, as Cleveland's roster schedule continues to be just a slog. They did drop the game on Monday against Colorado, but they have a series with the Rockies, who currently are baseball's worst team, and trying to make up ground in that sort of a spot is tough to do. However, Minnesota has struggled with the Guardians all year, and getting behind the 8 ball on the season win-loss total hasn't been good there against Cleveland, but doing it against Kansas City and stacking those wins is something that Minnesota needs to do as well. They could take over second place or get into a closer striking distance within the division by either sweeping the 4-game series against Kansas City or at least taking 3 of 4. The big matchup for the series is probably Tuesday night's game from a difficulty for Minnesota. Simeon Woods Richardson has kind of been dancing around trouble for a few weeks now. The surface numbers are good, but he's had a lot of short starts. It's kind of been a dicey set of looks for him. The benefit is he has not pitched against Kansas City yet, so no one in that lineup will have seen him, but Cole Ragans is probably Kansas City's most impressive starter, even with Seth Lugo's numbers at this point. The Twins did see him on opening day, and Royce Lewis took him deep before exiting that game. They won't have Royce Lewis today. However, he could join the Twins, I would say Thursday potentially for that last game of the Kansas City series, or meet them on Friday in Houston as he continues to work with the St. Paul Saints through the rehab assignment this week. So reinforcements incoming, big week for the Twins, and need to stack a few more wins.